is Atlantic Television Press Television and different past sections. Well, before we start the program, we'll look at some of the headlines that are trending. Tinubu speaks Senate on 2024 budget. He speaks to Senate on 2024 budget. Jega says candidates switching parties undermine Nigerian democracy. From the National Assembly comes where Senate rejects bill for party replacement of NAS members. And from Rivers State, fire engulfs gas plant. Causes panic. Rivers Gubapo result. Well, not result. Court dismisses Cole's petition, upholds Fubara's victory. Reps guarantee cessation of strike in universities. You're watching us live on our website, television.net.tv, on our mobile app, 18 live on our YouTube and Facebook, Atlantic Television Network. This is Press Roundtable live on his in-house guest this evening, and we'll do justice to it. Don't get away. Budgeting in Nigeria in recent time, especially in the last 8 years, has been the fact that all our budgets have been budget of deficit. Deficit in simple economic terms means that if you have 10,000 naira budget, and if you budget 10,000 naira for your expenditure for the year or whatever you're doing, and you have only 6,000, which means that you have a deficit of 4,000. You don't have enough of that budget. And most of the time, Nigeria has been borrowing to fund projects, to fund the budget. And another bane of our budgetary system in Nigeria, cost of governance. The current expenditure is usually very huge. And before now, so that's the second one. And before now, we used to be very angry with Buhari. People used to call him Baba, go slow. Budgets were not running full circle. What do you call it? Insecurity, issue of infrastructure, and what have you. What other things do you think you can address?
Well, when you look at
yes.
The issue. Small, medium enterprises are all collapsing because of the inflation, the instability of the dollar and the naira. So you import ease of doing business if government can get employed. However, when you look at the deficit, of course, that is
financing,
grants,
and all that. Yes, microfinancing and all that. The budget can also address issues of infrastructural problem.
Yes.
Because when you talk about ease of doing business, our roads are in very bad shape.
Very true.
So how can you move? I think that this budget should look at the roads, especially roads from the eastern region.
And power.
Educational infrastructure. We already have the Japa syndrome in our educational system. Many universities don't have lecturers any longer. You need to talk about all that manpower, shortage of manpower in our education.
And how to make civil service attractive to experts.
And then you talk about create wealth for Nigeria to make Nigeria secure.
I just feel this the problem is implementation.
And you need money.
Yes. So the problem is implementation. So as much
around refineries, talking about improving the issue of the extractive industry generally,
of course,
downstream and upstream sector and all that. These are all our sources. They're not driven by civil servants.
And then, but let's look to the budget.
Well, let's look at the next story. Because says candidates switching parties undermines former chairman of Independent National Electoral Act. It must include the proscription of candidates switching parties while standing for elections. They said the trend where candidates cross from one political party to another was undermining the fundamental process of the nation's democracy. Because while speaking at the Citizens Town Hall on electoral reforms and the European Union in Abuja on the appointment process of chairman and resident electoral commissioners of the commission, said that the 2022 Electoral Act is the best way of cross-carpeting. First and foremost, the reform has to anchor seriously on the issue of the appointment of electoral personnel. That's what he's saying there. And then the issue of cross-carpeting, people cross-carpeting from one party to the other. And it creates a lot of confusion in the process.
How can they be independent-minded when a certain person or they are being controlled, maybe by the incumbent or by the
executive?
Exactly. So it's a question of he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So until we come to a point where we have independent institutions, for example, the
INEC becoming independent.
Exactly.
And replace validly elected candidates at the end of death of vacancy, 7 national. Sponsor of the bills, Karim Sunday.
I actually applaud the Senate for not accepting that bill, because it doesn't make sense that yes, the person came in. First of all, the person came in through the legislator came in through an electoral process.
Okay.
Now, if in an eventuality of death or resignation has been defeated,
I think it's a ridiculous bill. President Kogi West brought that matter is because it says primarily to avoid waste of public resources.
Waste of
on conducting fresh election at federal and state government.
I think
it's one of the madness.
It is very ridiculous.
It's very ridiculous.
Really
exactly. Go ahead.
It wasn't really true. When you look at it, the question is, so was it the public funds they were using to conduct these elections, to run campaigns? Because I'm looking at it from an angle of not the government right now conducting these elections, but from the campaign angle of it. So are they running these campaigns with public funds? And never has the government said, okay, we cannot, do not forget that these INEC officials are civil servants. So they do the bidding of the government. They do their job.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
In this case, when they are needed, when there is need for re-election, they have to come on board and do their job.
Yes.
So if they say they are wasting of public funds and all of that, how come he did not fight the preposterous bill of the amount of money they are going to take for vehicles and furnitures? Like, I mean, they should be looking at that as wastage of public funds, yes. But rather they would rather thwart democratic process under the guise of trying to be sympathetic to the government, not to waste public funds.
Now, the funny thing was the way the bill was dropped. The very ridiculous bill talking about saving resource, government, public fund and all that. I think the Senate President waded into that matter. He gave an opportunity to withdraw the bill
or even
amend it, which he declined and was subsequently rejected in a voice vote.
That was a nice one.
Very, very, very funny and very interesting. I think that. What's your last take on that? What do you think about the way people come to the house unprepared and begin to drop frivolous motions and all that? That's my.
I just feel.
I see a lot of frivolous motions in the house.
You know what I feel? It's people are not in tune with their constituents.
Yes.
Right, because if you are in the house, for example, like from his name, he's from the north.
No, it's from the north central. Yes, you're right.
Yes. So now they have.
Kogi West.
We are looking at the issue of infrastructure. We are looking at the issue of education. We are looking at the issue of poverty. There are a lot of issues about the girl child. You understand, that can come up and it will affect. It will positively affect the constituents. But they are not talking about that. That is to tell you that a lot of these people do not necessarily care about the constituents. And again, maybe they just want to be heard. And in wanting to be heard, they do not think through what they say.
They just want, yeah.
Exactly, because if I'm in tune with my constituents, it's easy. I just go back home, get a feel of them, walk around and know what they actually want. What do I do to affect the lives of these people? But they won't do that in the first place. So he came there because he wanted to be in the
because
legislature.
Because this is one of the most ridiculous motion I've seen in the legislature.
I have never seen anything like this.
Well, that's the much we can take in this half hour. When we come back, we'll do more justice to you. We'll go on a short break. Welcome back. If you just join us, you're watching Press Roundtable Live on Atlantic Television Network. Well, I've just been joined by Kingsley Izejobi, a broadcast journalist. Each time I call his name, he smiles. Izejobi, right?
Yes.
All right, he's a broadcast journalist down the road out there. And I still have Laurentia. You're welcome. Well, let's look at the next story. Accept the fact that it's of the judiciary, or it's a bare fact. Because the point is that we don't, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
we're not running independent candidatures.
No, but even if we're not running independent candidature, I also have a right to be heard. The mandate was mine. I contested the primary.
The party gave you the flag.
Yes, even if the party give me the flag.
Yes.
The party is the platform upon which I wanted to exercise my
Can you be bigger than your platform?
No, but the law in Nigeria does not say that even if your party withdraws from the case, depending on who is because the interested parties in these filings are done hierarchically, kind of. So if the number one person drops, the other persons automatically will just leave the way.
Dismissed as frivolous.
It's not because
it was not dismissed because it didn't have the merit.
No, it's not that. It's not because I don't think that it's because the party has withdrawn. That's why the appeal court took the decision it took. I think it's on the merit of, on the basis of, like they will say, not being able to substantiate your matter mandate away.
But if I may ask, in Nigeria, I know that constitutionally, if you win on the mandate of the party, as long as you occupy that position, you cannot defect while on seat. So when you say that when someone wins, especially let's use the governorship for example, I contradicts what they see on the mandate. Like he cannot cross carpet another party.
No,
while he's still
even if he does, the point is even if he does, even if he
that's
can,
unconstitutional.
well, that's said that the committee was working towards ensuring quality, reliability, easy access, and a rewarding university education. His response, the acting executive secretary, Professor Miyake, said the Nigerian universities were faced with lots of challenges. He expressed confidence that the commitment of the National Assembly, some of the problems will be addressed. How do you think the National Assembly can address the problems that are bedeviling the university? So much is, on the plate when it comes to university education in Nigeria. Before you came, we were talking about the budget. What can the budget do to redress the economic woes of Nigeria? What can we benefit from the budget to bring Nigeria out of the woods? And we mentioned education is one of those issues. And in that case, we are envisaging that we are going to have a capital-based budget that can address infrastructure, the social sector, the economic sector, and what have you. So in the doldrum that we find them.
Well, it's quite unfortunate that the education in Nigeria has been given a backbench.
Yeah.
And because it has been given a backbench, I am not very hopeful that the lawmaker, the federal lawmakers, can do anything significant to improve the lot of our education. I am not saying so on the grounds of what has been. A lot of them who are in the assembly today, if they have properly educated constituents
tomorrow.
Yes.
UNESCO talks about the amount of money that should be budgeted for education.
Yeah.
So the benchmark is 26%. Do you see that happening?
I really do not see that happening.
It has never happened before in Nigeria.
Exactly. That's the problem.
That happening. And
Because that's the only way. If not, the house, whatever they are saying there is just lip service.
Allocated to education in our budgetary system, that will do